How's it going, Gemini community? Soul Tigress with a special story for this wonderful frequency. Now, first off, I gotta thank y'all so much for your time and your patience as I navigate the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, and everything in between in this story. Now, don't forget that this is a safe and sacred space where we have asked your ancestors, guides, angels, as well as divine and universal energies to be the protectors and the guides for the positive messages in this story. Now, please keep in mind that this channel here is geared all the way around self-empowerment. And what this means for these stories is creating stepping stones to get us more connected with our soul being. Now, let's go ahead and get started with the vibe that's coming in. Nervousness, anxieties, worried about something or someone. The Gemini in this story needs to ground out. Simplifying things will be the key. Time to close the door on some stuff that isn't for you anymore. And what I'm led to use is examples of a person's front door and the weather outside. Now, what I'm being shown is like chaotic weather. It could be cold, it could be windy, it could be rainy. Now, what I'm being asked to ask the Gemini in this story is, would you keep your front door open if that type of weather was happening outside? No, you close your door to protect your home, right? Also to lessen that heating bill. So what's being asked here is other people's chaos. You are more than welcome to close the door on and not invite it into your sacred space, or think that you have to have your sacred space door open to others' chaos. Now, this is really expressed, and it was very unique the way I found it. But your guides, ancestors, as well as angels and divine and universal energy, they want you to know that you are loved. No matter what the mishap there was in the past, this one, and this is a very specific ancestor here, still loves you and always has. And they want you to know that they understand. Now, for after that special message is it's time to release emotional burdens. This will help the Gemini in this story come to full circle with a lot of things. Now that was powerful. Holy moly, what's going to come out here? I don't know. But we got a little sneak peek with the vibe. So let's go ahead and bring it in with the energy oracles for the introduction. What is it, ancestors and guides, that we need to bring out for this introduction? Ooh. Adjacent possibilities. Look it. Here are all these doors. What other possibilities can happen when you close the door to somebody else's chaos that you're not going to allow it in your sacred space anymore? Something else that we're confused on is there's an attachment here. This attachment increases the fog around the moves that Gemini could be wishing to make. And right here, something I see Gemini kind of running from this, or even in a state of denial that this has to do with this other stuff, is the anxiety. It has to do with this ghost of the past. Just remember, for anybody specific, for the Gemini specifically in this story, your ancestor gets it. They get it. And they still love you. They still love you. They understand that life is hard. Nobody's perfect. And every day that we wake up here, we are given another chance to try again. And what I hear is they don't want you to give up, buried in this past attachment to something that maybe this Gemini felt like they didn't do right. It's okay. It's okay. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Something we're not seeing is there's a door to spirit. Or even opening up that door to spirit. Into a higher belief. Like I said, coming to full circle with things. A higher belief that stuff does happen for a reason. No matter how much we don't like it, no matter how much unfair we feel it is. Let's keep going. Wow. Now this has to do with those doors. These doors, this attachment directly. The temple path here. Coming to terms with some stuff. Meditating. Creating a sacred space where you can rest and rejuvenate is going to be the key. Feel this ancestor around you. And what I get is music. I know a lot of people say that, but there is one specific song that may come on randomly that may make you remember some times with this specific ancestor. I feel like that's them trying to show you that they're around and they do not want you to suffer anymore. They want you to rejuvenate. They want you to get some rest and put this burden down. For the line of work that I do, when we rest and rejuvenate, we give time for the body to recover itself, to work on itself, to heal itself. Sometimes we get certain frequencies, especially this Gemini frequency. This is a high energy frequency that goes. This could be your workaholic frequency as well. Don't overly bury yourself in tasks and in work trying to run from a certain feeling, because that feeling will always be there until you put it to rest. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. All right. So let's fly a little bit higher here for the present for this Gemini and seeing what's going on here. What is it for the present? Divine and universal energy that wants to come out. Here we are. This one. Okay. And this one. Right away, we have the Fool. The Fool, I always say it represents Aquarius, but it also represents Libra and Gemini here. Look at that. Jack Skellington here with their pup. door to spirit this lands on. If you remember, there was a point in this story where Jack had hit the woods with the many doors. Again, we have these doors here. And being able to pick a door. And Jack Skellington, this is so fitting, picked the door with the Christmas theme. And what Jack was trying to do at this time is we have the Seven of Swords. Jack was trying to get out of feeling entrapped in their mind. It was almost like this restlessness, looking for higher up meaning here. I feel like the Gemini, if they were to go on this adventure, they're going to open up another door to something different. And what they could see could put them in a position where they realize what they truly have already. So what we're not seeing is, we have the Eight of Needles. So we go from the Seven of Needles to the Eight of Needles, and this rest and rejuvenation, and this Ace of Candles. So right here, we're trying to get over the thoughts, but passionately, we can't give ourselves a new investment, a new creative investment. It's like a heartwarming investment, or to feel like we can put, what I'm hearing is, ourselves fully out there when it comes to the way that we feel about things. Well, there's no cups here. How do I get feelings? Passion. What we're passionate about. Passion is a feeling, but for wands, I get direct passion here. It could be the exact creative direction that this Gemini wants to go in. This burden is a chain that keeps them tied down. Again, it's going around in that circle, chasing the burden, opposed to letting that come to full circle and starting in on something else. Creating something else. And I have this Three of Presents that lands on the Seven of Needles, followed by, what do we have here? Look at that. The Star. For some reason, Gemini feels like they can't get to a contract. A contract that will bring out the best of the best of the best of everything in their lives. They want the Midas touch, in a sense. It's almost like you have somebody who says, I always mess everything up. And there's a far sense from them being able to have the Midas touch. Be careful with wishing for something totally opposite. Because if you remember with King Midas, at the very end, he couldn't even feed himself because the grapes, any food he would touch would turn to gold. So too much of one thing could be a bad thing. It's always having a fine mix of both. What do you mean when it comes to suffering versus having a golden life? When you don't just dwell in your sufferings, when you just don't dwell in the golden life, you dwell right in the middle. Being able to realize what you have, what you're blessed with, but also appreciating that you can live within your means. That's what that means. Never needing more and more and more to satisfy you, because again, you're right in the middle of this balance. What else needs to come out for the Gemini frequency? We got 2 cards here. So I also have the 9 of Candles and an 8 of Presents. This is working boundaries here. Working standards, working boundaries. I say standards too is because we kind of create these standards throughout our experiences for anything new that comes in. And right now, this could be backwards to where something's happened, and through the anxieties, through this attachment, this ghost of the past, of leaving this door open, coming in, creating all that chaos in our internal home because we haven't come to full circle. That's what I'm getting with this. It's been a lot of just this same routine of the way we feel like we have to let other people's chaos into our homes, our sacred homes. Let's get a clarification card for the Eight of Candles. It's almost like a people-pleasing energy in a sense. It's always saying yes to everyone and what they pack onto you. But let's get a clarity card for the, it's Nine of Candles. Excuse me if I said 8. For the Nine of Candles. This is what's holding up. That people pleasing. It's what's holding up. It's what's holding up the High Priestess energy that you have within yourself. So what we have here to clarify the Nine of Candles is no energy, loss of momentum, goals have been forgotten, review and set new goals. You underestimate your own abilities and lack vision. Fear of change or travel keep you from success and happiness. Too attached to your current job or residence. You are inflexible and must respond to changing circumstances. What I want to comment on that, because I'm getting things coming in that are depicting evolution. So we're going to go off into a microorganism, macroorganism kind of thing is throughout time, particular species, or even this earth, you can say humans, have had to learn how to evolve in order to keep going, especially to keep the stronger part of the species going. It's what I'm hearing is natural selection. We don't talk about that anymore because we have so much medicine here and we deem that life should be forever and that we should fear death, but it's all a part of the cycle of renewal, rebirth. So right here we are given the example of evolution because Gemini, in this story, you're supposed to evolve more here. And you're stopping your evolvement, your spiritual connection involvement by having these attachments to the past cycles. And what I'm thinking is you're kind of just taking it all out on yourself and not forgiving yourself for being human. So this High Priestess energy that you have within you that you're blocking, again, because of all this stuff that you've had happen in the past. But you have this energy here, your inner peace and strength. You will be preoccupied. A passive reaction is best. Let others overreact while you remain calm and sure of the outcome. The answers to all your questions are already inside you. Tap into your gut feelings. A mysterious and desirable yet unattainable person may enter your life. And that person could be you. A new version of yourself, a new evolved version of yourself. Now what we have with this new moon in Sagittarius and this full moon in Gemini, this is why you're going to peak up all the way through this end of this month in this energy here. Where you're going back and forth between yourself, Gemini. You're going to drive yourself kind of bonkers here. But this is all being brought in because of the attachments that you have to the past. It's not what your mind is really duplicating. You're not really that bad of a person. You're a human with human experiences. But what is it that we can forgive of this past here? Because everybody has a past. Even the person persons, places, things that we still harbor on, that we have the doors open to all that chaos, they are not perfect. They've made their mistakes. They are human in the human experience along with yourself. Just remember that. All right, so let's go a few more cards here. Few more cards. What else needs to come out for the Gemini frequency? Here comes that Eight of Candles. What I get is a sense of standing up for yourself. A sense of standing up for yourself. What can I get something else for standing up for yourself? Here we go. So the sense of standing up for yourself is what's going to open this other door when you go on this new mission, especially when it comes to your mind. And here we have the Magician. But you're going to have to be very careful in navigating this area with yourself, because you have such a set routine of how you already use your tools. All right, so this is going to be being able to open up, in a sense, to tweaking this routine. So when it comes to specifically being a magician in our thoughts, when we wield our Excalibur sword against any negative energy, it's when you start to take the steps to go off. So this may be starting a day with positive affirmations. All right. And then you're going to have a point in time in this day, because you're going to get tested. Oh yeah. Where something's going to happen and it could remind you of this past. And then what happens when we get reminded of certain things, we have this Rolodex of emotions around subjects like that. And here comes this negative energies of routine, where they're going to say, or we're going to feel like we're not the greatest, that we should have known better, that we're dumb, we're stupid, all this kind of negative stuff. And it's when that stuff starts to come in, when you wield your Excalibur sword, your new thoughts, that tweaking. And every time some kind of self-doubt comes in, that's when you confront it. You confront it. Just like I tell you, thank you for your patience. All right, you're going to tell yourself, thank you for your patience. Now, I'm not that person I was back then. I'm here now. And it could be, thank you, me. Thank you for trying. Thank you for doing something different from then to now. How is it that you can rewrite how you feel about yourself? Is it saying, thank you? A simple thank you for not being where you once were? Is it saying, it's okay? You know what, just for today, I will try again. Or, you know, just for today, I will trust in myself. Or just for today, I will trust in the divine. One more. Just for today, I will forgive myself. All beautiful, positive affirmations. Those are the stepping stones to start to redirect this energy and close that door to what was chaos once before, and open up another door to what? To some new beliefs. All right, so what is it that we need to come to full circle with here? Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. We're going to take a dive into this block here. Let's see what it is that we haven't came to full circle with yet for the Gemini. in this story? What is it that needs to come out for the Gemini? It's a whole booklet here. This is what keeps you up at night. This keeps you very distant when it comes to being able to create that sacred space within you. Is I have a Gemini here who feels like they were very taking, maybe very constricting, maybe very overruling, acting heavily out of their ego. Somehow they feel like they had some kind of trickery energy that they were kind of putting out. This is the Gemini villainizing themselves in a sense. I feel like they weren't focused on what the root of things were. They were kind of just going with the flow of their routines at the time. And the routines at the time kind of deals with how they were dealing with things. Maybe there was somebody in particular, again, who was working things a little bit, let's see if I can do that, a little bit different from what this Gemini was doing. And because it was a little different, it left them very confused on what they do, how they pick stuff up, or how they put stuff down. I feel like this kind of goes along with this spiritual belief here, because we have the lamb and the angel wings. There's a lot of this Gemini questioning themselves, feeling bad about something in particular. Let's see what it is. I want to get a clarification behind the Magician first. What is the clarification behind this Magician? Oh. So this is kind of like how Gemini's feeling. We got a Queen of Wands in reverse. And it's funny because we have this King of Wands in side position. Like I said, there was a lot of ego here that they're upset on how they acted out in their ego. Indicates a person over 30. So this tells me a person who they think should know better. Cool, frosty demeanor. Classically attractive but aloof. Plays games with people's feelings. This person will be unfaithful. Naturally thin and attractive without effort. Oh. Self-absorbed and selfish. Not interested in career advancement. Works because this person has to. Controlling, manipulative, and vindictive. I'm highlighted to the vindictive. The vindictiveness. Now, what was the vindictiveness that came out of the insecurity when it came to this other person who was doing something without effort here? Remember, there's no judgment here. We're getting to the root cause of stuff, all right? To release blocks so that we may further ourselves on our past. And it means looking back at some of the feelings that we have based around ourselves. So let's see what else needs to come out. And this is going to be for that Eight of Swords. And this Eight of Swords, this all goes back onto how you're feeling you are acting out of your ego here. And acting out of this ego, again, keeps you from this new passionate offer. As I have in a Seven of Cups in upright. And then I have the King of Pentacles in reverse. So indicates your need for structure and discipline in your life. You're not seeing things clearly. Clouded judgment. You may be misinterpreting reality. Wishing for something doesn't make it happen. Risky ventures will fail. There are many more options than you recognize. Possible religious, psychic, or unexplainable event. And then with the King of Pentacles here, signifies somebody over 40 should know really, really better, we would say. But age doesn't mean anything when it comes to knowing better or common sense, or when it comes to level of spiritual evolvement. Hurts others' feelings without thinking, puts their own needs first, changes jobs frequently, not successful. Now with the changes jobs frequently, I would say that has to do with just their inner stability. Erratic mood swings cause conflict in their relationships, blames others for their failures, overreacts to slightest provocation, repressed anger. So the ghost of the past for this Gemini is acting out of the ego, but being very impulsive with it. It's almost like an Aquarius energy where there's a quick detachment. Aquariuses are really good at detaching really quick. But this quick detachment that has happened has also created these ghosts of the past here. Again, that chaos that Gemini keeps their door open to. What else is the block here? It has to do with these healthy boundaries. And I have this Queen of Cups in reverse and a Four of Cups. I feel like this Queen of Cups feeds the reactiveness energy that I was feeling. For some reason, we got situations that have crossed over your boundaries. May have left you always trying to over focus on so many other things just to kind of help you put up with everything over crossing these boundaries. That's what I'm getting from this block so far. So I have a Gemini here who doesn't stand in their personal power naturally. What this tells me is there's a big and out of balance energy in your solar plexus. Low self-esteem, lack of control, insecurity, and procrastination. And see where I get that personal power is when this chakra, your solar plexus chakra, the soul of self, is within balance. There's confidence, your personal power, joy, self-discipline, and motivation. And right here, because we have this ghost of the past, these ghosts of the past and all this chaos is what depletes the confidence, depletes the personal power, depletes the joy. It's almost like Gemini goes in and keeps beating themselves up. And remember, this ancestor sees it. They understand what exactly happened. They understand where you were at, why these choices were made. Again, nobody's perfect. And the fact that the Gemini in this story reflects upon this so much means that you care. Plain and simple. You care. And if you didn't care, you wouldn't keep reflecting on this. The fact that you care means the most. It really does. That tells me that whatever happened in this past wasn't malicious. You may look at it now as vindictive because you're looking at it from a different point. But I'm not seeing that vindictiveness in here. You have this high priestess energy that you're operating out of, have been operating out of. I'm here to specifically ask, what is the attachment for this block? What is the attachment for this block? Here we go. Detachment for this block has to do with emotional fulfillment and judgment. Laying judgment upon yourself. Judgment card, that's Jupiter. Or no, judgment card, Sagittarius, I see. Then you have Libra, I balance. Leo, I will. And then Aries, I am. Let's read that. I am, I will, I balance, I see. How can we go in and reassess from this High Priestess energy? High Priestess Moon energy shows much about how a person expresses their imagination, mysticism, and mystical love. High Priestess Moon energy also represents, excuse me while I shine some more light upon this, shows where and how we nurture, as well as where and how we seek nurturance. Moon is responsive, adaptable, shows us an area of life where we can create, give birth. Give birth. Again, to what? The new awareness. The new awareness that starts it. Again, I'll repeat it. I am. I will. I balance. I see. Time to reassess the emotional investment that we have into this chaos. And asking for forgiveness. Forgiveness from ourselves, for ourselves. If you have to, forgiveness from the divine. The divine does forgive. It does. And if there's an ancestor in particular that you cannot communicate with right now, or somebody that you cannot communicate with right now, I always suggest writing a letter to them. Say everything that you want to say to them. This person doesn't even have to be gone. It's just that there isn't a communication that's happening face to face right now. And writing this letter, the things that you wish that you could communicate on, because you're going through this cycle, you're keeping this chaos open because we haven't released it. And through this letter, you can say everything that you need to say and give yourself permission to release, and give yourself permission to close that door. That chaos no longer has to be carried into tomorrow, the day after, a month from now, a year from now. No, because we're not meant to carry chaos with us. We're meant to learn the lessons from it so that we can teach others, so that we can become more connected in here. Wow, that was a lot there. Holy moly, Gemini community. You're human. I'm human. Let me share this experience with you. I will. I have a lot. I have a past time where there was a very special person to me. This special person was one of the first people that actually really truly cared about me. And they were a very beautiful human. We were young, in our teens, our older teens. And life was happening as the divine scripted it to. And I had an instant where I ran into this situation with this particular person. And to me at that moment, they ripped my heart out. It was the hardest thing. It was the hardest thing I had been through at that time. And so the following day, I believe I received a phone call from them. And I was still so upset with this person. I was hurt. I'm allowed to be, right? I'm allowed to look at it from my point of view. But for years, I didn't look at it from that point of view. Years, I looked at it from the repercussions point of view. What do I mean? So the next day when that person had called me, it may have been a few days later, I was so upset. My ego was hurt. As this teen, it was hurt. And I stood arguing with this person for a little bit. And my very last words were to them was, I never want to talk to you again. And the next day after that argument, so almost 2 days later, I woke up and that person passed away. That very night, so many hours after I talked to them. And for years, I carried around those words with me. And it sucked. It sucked. And it took about 8 years, I would say, till I started to realize that it was okay to forgive myself. That it was okay to be young in this experience. And that it was okay what I said to this person last. Because had I known something different was going to happen, no way in hell would that have been my last words to them. No. Not by a long shot. But we cannot predict the variables of life. It's taken me some years to be able to go from regret, resentment, to an energy of honoring, being grateful for even knowing that person, being able to live in that experience. And right here, we all have our faults. And I tell you what, if I was to talk to this person, the individual that I'm telling you about, they wouldn't want me to suffer. They knew where I was emotionally at that time. Hence the phone call the next day. And even till this day now, so many years later, so many years later, almost 20 years later, I have been able to forgive myself. I mean, it's harsh when we have things, relationships that are cut off so quickly, and we don't have that communication. That's why I said, write that letter. Write that letter. There's many a times that I've written letters to even people who are still alive, but I can't have that face-to-face communication. When we open up to being able to open up to the energies of that chaos, then we start the process of being able to work through those emotions, accepting what was, accepting how we reacted, accepting that we don't have the control here. We don't have the control. What we hope to last forever is never guaranteed. This is deep. Holy moly. I didn't mean to go so deep on y'all, but it was what I was told to share. I have a lot of life experiences, man. The good, the bad, the ugly, the in between, and the beautiful. Everything. I think this is why I'm asked to do this here. So let's go ahead. Divine and universal energy. What is it? What is it? What is the advice that we can give in this story? This is so fitting. Don't be confused on it. Don't let your past hold you back. That self node, and it starts in the thoughts. It's starting to see how you are this person who has created so much. I mean, even out of these anxieties, there's still some kind of growth here. Something that you still try and show up with here. Is it your heart? Is it your compassion? Is it your will to try again still? Even though you have all this chaos that's happening. Be proud of yourself for being able to handle such a heavy load through so much chaos. But imagine how much things can change once we can start to process what's going on and being able to release that chaos or close the door to that and saying, we're done with it. It's okay. That is a past human experience. Now it's time to move forward. Time to do more. Time to enjoy our life. You and your loved ones are safe. What I get is no matter what, I'm going to reword this a little bit. Your loved ones on the other side knew that you did not mean ill will. They know it. They know it. What else needs to come out? Your hard work is paying off. This comes out in reverse. This tells me you're doing too much work into those ghosts of the past. Too much work. And to shine a light or a new direction. Because we have the Capricorn energy here. Capricorns, with that Saturn, they resist so much change. And one thing about Capricorns is a lot of them forget that they have this fish tail. They have the capabilities to navigate their emotions. Right here, you have the capability and the strength here to navigate this emotional past within yourself. Reach those cliffs where you can get that higher view. Creating a new stable way to go. Prosperity lies ahead. But again, it's when you start to work towards achieving the goals that you really want. How do you really want to feel? What are these internal goals that you have? Do you want to believe in something different? Do you want to believe that emotionally you can be somewhere different with yourself? All right. Here we go. A fiery climax approaches. What that tells me is look at the bigger picture. So when you go in and we're starting to process this, and you're going to start going back on yourself saying that you're this, you're that, that's what's going to take away from the healing. It's not about pointing the fingers here, Gemini. I say fingers because there's two of you. You're the twins. This isn't about pointing the fingers. This is about, again, the new moon and the full moon energy. Bringing out your truth and going between that higher up connection that you have with divine and your inner wisdom that you've built through all of these life experiences here with yourself. You have, and what I see is the very keys to all these doors. It's opening up the door to belief again. Believing that you are a good person at heart. Believing that what has happened in the past has helped to create the individual that you are. And it's pretty special, and this person cares a lot because you're still reflecting. No matter how much you try and villainize yourself, you're not the villain here. Okay? So, this is going to conclude it for the Gemini frequency. And as always, don't forget to thank your ancestors, spirit guides, as well as divine and universal energy for coming in and helping protect all these positive messages. And I hope you have a most wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.